YouTube? Today we're going to do some smoking. I've got a 7-pound pork butt. I have already taken the liberty of taking some olive oil, poured it into this bowl, and then took some mustard, some Cajun mustard, and I rubbed the entire thing down. I'm going to let it sit there for a while. And today we're going to be using some cherry chips for my smoker. And the smoker is all propped up in the corner over there, just waiting to be used. So we'll go ahead and throw the chips in here in just a second and get that sucker started and get it cooking. Okay, so I'll take my chips, pour that into my bowl. Now I'm using a inexpensive smoker, so unfortunately it goes through a lot of chips. So I'm putting a excessive amount in here. Normally, if you had a high efficiency smoker, you would not be burning through all this wood, but I am not using a high efficiency smoker, so we're gonna fill this bad boy up with water and let that soak for a couple of hours. Alright, so arguably the most important part of doing this entire process is making sure you have the right rub. I like to use a high sweetener on pork products because the sweetening agent on the smoking process really brings out the flavor of the meat. So the base that I'll be using is brown sugar today. And then after that, we're going to take samples. My daughter, who is right here eating her donut, does not like things very spicy. So we're going to go more on the savory side of things today. So I'll be mixing up with garlic, salt, and a little bit of onion powder, as well as using some of this Weber steak. Okay, so my daughter's going to help me out with this. So, sweetie, see that right there? That spoon right there? That is called a tablespoon. Notice how it's bigger than other spoons? Other spoons are teaspoons. So you're going to be using a tablespoon for this. So I want you to go ahead and take your tablespoon and put it into the brown sugar and give me 3 tablespoons. Well, that's a little large. We'll count that as 1.5. Give me another one. Yeah, we'll count that as 3. Go ahead and throw that in there. Awesome. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, now this is black pepper. Now hold out your tablespoon above that bowl. Hold it above the bowl, sweetie. And we're going to fill this bad boy with pepper.
It's not a bad boy.
Yeah. You know what? Let's switch to this. It makes it easier to pour out.
Hi, sprinkles.
What? Look at what you're doing. Look at what you're doing. Hold the spoon straight. Hold the spoon straight so it doesn't pour over. Okay, now flip it over. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to do the same thing with the garlic. Flip it over. So the key thing about this is that we don't want to use too much salt, because if you make things too salty, it ruins the flavor of the meat. So hold the spoon straight, sweetie. Straight.
That looks like enough.
Just a little bit more. Okay, take it and flip it over. Okay, so we got to do this onion powder next. Hold the spoon straight. Okay, take it, flip it over. Good job. And then last but not least, we're going to use this Weber Steak and Chop. Daddy likes to use this because it's got a ground lemon peel inside of it. Hold it straight, sweetie. Hold it straight. There you go.
Stop.
What do you think?
Good.
We're good? Let's pour a little bit more in there. All right, flip it over. Okay. So that'll add a little bit of zest to our spices. And last but not least, Daddy likes to use a little bit of raw garlic. And so hold the spoon out. Flip it over. Give me some more. Never have enough garlic. Flip it over. Perfect. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to mix it all together. Can you take that spoon and start mixing it up for me?
Okay, that I can do.
All right. Good job. Yeah. And then once we're all done with that, we're going to take it and we're going to rub it all over that big delicious pork butt over there.
But the fly is on it.
Oh, we gotta sweep out that fly. Daddy should have put a protector on there. Get shoe fly.
She fly, don't bother me. She fly, don't bother me. She fly, don't bother me. I want you on to somebody. Let's make sure it's nice and mixed.
Yeah, that looks good and pasty. That's exactly the way it should be.
Like buttered sugar.
Like buttered sugar. And that sugar is going to act as not only a sweetening agent for the meat, Megan, it's also going to help us adhere to the meat itself. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take it, and you wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do next is take that and we're going to put it onto the actual pork itself.
So here we go.
And this is the part where you're allowed to get your hands a little dirty. So you're going to take your nice clean hands and you're going to, here, Daddy will start putting it on.
And I'm going to be touching the pork.
You're going to be touching the pork. You're going to rub all of this into the pork using your hands. Just like...
Here.
Oh, there you go. And so it's okay
it's
to...
nice and meaty.
Yeah, and so save some for the bottom so you could flip it over. So you want to go ahead and get the top done first. Then after all this is done, we're going to go ahead and throw this in some aluminum foil.
Aluminum?
Aluminum.
I get it.
All right, go ahead and get your hands on there. And you're going to just, yeah, good, just rub it in. Just use your hands and spread it all over.
I think I feel some bone.
Oh yeah, there's a bone inside of this. It's a pork butt. Most of the time they got bones in them. Go ahead and rub that in. You want to smear it all around, make it nice and even, so don't let it glop in just one area. There we go. There's usually two different types of rubs you use on meat. Some of them are dry rubs. In other words, it's dry just like powder. And this is considered a wet rub. So that mustard that's below is kind of like the glue. It helps keep all the spices on. But also that brown sugar that we put in there, once it's mixed, it actually gets a little bit liquidy. And actually helps it stick onto the meat too. Alright, you're doing an awesome job, Miggy. Alright, do you think you can pick it up, or do you think you can't? If not, Daddy will pick it up.
I don't think so.
Right,
it's a little heavy.
Yeah, it is a little heavy, isn't it? Alright, so Daddy's going to take this, grab it, and flip it over. You're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and take that piece of meat, Megan, and we're going to dump it onto that aluminum foil. Do you think you can pull it out by yourself? It's really heavy. It's like picking up a kitty. Do not drop it. If you can't pick it up, let Daddy do it.
I can't.
Okay, don't worry about it, sweetie. Let Daddy
And
do it.
here's one advice before you start touching the meat. Wash your hands with soap and water.
That is excellent advice. And YouTube, I don't know about you, but that looks freaking delicious. So we're going to finish wrapping this bad boy up, and then we're going to go ahead and get the smoker started. Okay, I like to foil up my wood chips. So I go ahead and I put a pretty significant amount of wood chips inside of this. I go ahead and just drop it right over the heating element. All right, Megan, you want to see the smoked pork butt?
Yeah.
All right, let's see how she's going. So we have to be careful. We can't touch the red part because that's going to be hot. So we touch the handle, pull it open. And, oh, look at all the smoke in there. Wow. That pork butt that's down there cooking.
Yeah.
So excited. Every pound of food that's inside of that piece of meat, for 1 pound, we do 1 hour of cook time. And because my smoker does not actually have a temperature gauge on it, we may have to add time, so I'll do a test as it gets closer and closer to the time. All right, that's all for now. I'm so excited. Oh, it looks like a thing of beauty. Ooh, dog. Oh, I'm so excited about dinner tonight.